I decided to post a video today to share my thoughts and my perception on getting a Nintendo Switch, as you see here, because of this game, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final Challengers. It's epic as I express myself, playing all different type of versions of Street Fighter 2 growing up ever since I was a kid, from World Warrior, Hyper Turbo, Championship Edition. All different type of versions of Street Fighter 2 was a very fun game. And I grew up in the streets of South Central Los Angeles. I attended a school which was called 52nd Street Elementary School. Every day after school, when I was a kid and other kids who I was amongst, every day when the school bell used to ring, every day that was just the signal everybody had to go play Street Fighter, because it used to be a store right down the street from my elementary school, and we would used to run to the store after school just to claim our slots, just to play this game of Street Fighter, because if you weren't the first ones there to claim your slot, you obviously had to wait your turn, and it was a long process. And it's so overwhelming, people who you're amongst, everybody just waiting their turn, so people just get impatient. So I just think that it's cool. Just the atmosphere of Street Fighter, playing in an arcade when you're amongst people. Cool experience. When I was in high school, in my junior and in my senior year, I had early classes. I was able to go play Street Fighter, based on my spare time. I used to go to these arcades in downtown LA. It used to be a bunch of people, a crowd of people who I was amongst, all different types of people, and we would just play Street Fighter 2 just like if it was a Street Fighter tournament. And it was a cool experience. Had all different races, or just all different types of people. And some of the people that I met years ago, I still keep in contact with still to this day. Even females even play this game as well. Shouts out to Keisha. We was able to build a friendship playing this game, because it's cool, when girls, just all type of people in general that play this game. And it's just an overwhelming experience, because it's like when you're around a lot of people and everybody has the same goal in mind, like everybody just want to win when it comes down to playing Street Fighter 2. It's a competitive game. I've noticed that certain people that you play in Street Fighter 2, it was just that one person that you played can bring the best out of your game. It's just like every time when you played that particular person, the matches was just always intense. Because I would used to win a lot of games playing in arcades against people who I was amongst, and it was just that one particular person that just had my number. And, I thought that was cool. That's what makes you want to improve on your game, because I realize when it comes to Street Fighter 2, the atmosphere of it, I believe you could have a perception in your mind, the way how you think and you visualize how you can be victorious and how you utilize your characters and your combos. You're just kind of curious how the outcome is going to be if you're victorious. Because, you can't underestimate anybody, when it comes down to the game of Street Fighter. So, it's definitely a fun game. And once Street Fighter 2 came out for the Super Nintendo, which is the SNES version, I said, cool, now I can start playing at home. I don't have to wait in the arcades anymore. I used to play with my friends all day, never get bored. But at some point, Super Street Fighter 2 for the SNES version started getting boring to me, I guess because it wasn't the arcade version as far as the graphics, and the soundtrack was, different from the arcade soundtrack. And I just didn't have that arcade feeling anymore. So I got bored of that. And when I got a PlayStation 2, I realized that Street Fighter Anniversary came out for the PlayStation 2 as well. Unfortunately at that time we couldn't play online when it was released for PlayStation 2, so it was nothing that I could do about that. And then when Street Fighter 2 HD Remix came out for the PlayStation 3, I thought it was cool, but I didn't really like the graphics. I didn't like the graphics that much. I'm into the arcade classic graphics, the soundtrack. I just like everything as far as how Street Fighter 2 is set up to be arcade. I didn't really like the HD graphics, HD Remix graphics. It wasn't really all that good. But overall, Street Fighter 2 is just still a fun game, and I realized that they had Street Fighter for the Xbox Live. But Xbox Live, it was arcade, but it wasn't so active, when it comes to playing people online. So that was the only thing about it that I didn't like. Street Fighter 2 is just so difficult to come across nowadays if you want to play online. And the only way I realized you could play online is either getting FightCade, I guess some computer software or some other websites. But I just wish that Capcom could have had this should have been established a long time ago, that Capcom should have had accessibility with good legitimate online access, when it comes to Street Fighter 2 on PlayStation Network or Xbox. Like I said, Xbox Live, obviously had the game of Street Fighter, but the online access was not legit. So that's the reason why I got a Nintendo Switch, as you see here, because you can play online, and I thought that was pretty cool. And as you see here, I have the pluggable USB 3.0 Ethernet adapter. I actually bought this before I got the Nintendo Switch because I was focused on the significant things that I would need when it comes to having a good online connection. So this is the most important thing that I bought before the Nintendo Switch or anything. And as you see here, I have the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which allows me to play Street Fighter 2 because the configurations, and that's very important. You want to be able to use a controller that you're comfortable with, when it comes to playing the game of Street Fighter. Because if you don't have a controller that you're accustomed to, you're going to get your ass whooped a lot, So, but if you had any game that you would want to play out of any game in the world, if you just had that one game that you would play, what would it be? Leave a comment. Mine's is Street Fighter 2, obviously. I prefer to play this game before any game in the world. And I'm pretty sure it's practical to a certainty of people that they would agree if they had that one particular game to play. What would it be? Leave a comment, subscribe. And I just wish nothing but the best of success, for everybody. Because if you can live a prosperous life and enjoy life, at the end of the day, it's all worth it, and it's all gratifying that you should be able to enjoy yourself and have fun and just enjoy playing video games out of your spare time. I just believe that genuine support can actually improve online gaming. So let's just all support one another. I appreciate it if you watch the video. Subscribe for more. And peace.